day guys, welcome to another series of our Python tutorial focus. So in last series we discussed about functions and how we can declare our own functions, but in this series we'll be talking about what we called arguments and parameter. So now argument and parameter. So argument and parameter, how do we let me just say, how do we just simplify this to our normal layman language? So you can just take arguments at some other things and some things that you can add to this function. When you are calling this function, maybe you can just add some text to here, maybe like Ade, maybe like John, so maybe like John, like that, etc, like that. So these are called the arguments. So these are the arguments. Why the parameter? The parameter are those, let me just say, inbuilt variables that you declared to this place, like maybe the first name, maybe the last name, so what you declared here is called the parameter. But before this function can work, you need to impute the argument here. So that is the reason why we are working on the argument and the parameter of a function. So now let me just clear the screen. Now let me just get rid of this, and then let's define a new functions. So this function, now we can just say greetings. You can just say greeting is the function. So we need to pass in the parameter. Don't forget that I told you that anything that you imputed here, the parameter that you imputed here is the requirement of the arguments that you are imputed into functions to. So now let's say I add name here. Now maybe I add name. Now I can just say okay, print formatted string of hello. Then I can just call the name that I added here. So I can just call the name that I added here. You can just call these parameters, let me just say as a normal variable to store function part of the code. Yeah, let me just say you can just call it some kind of variable storage. So let's relate it to that scenario that we can understand. So in this scenario, so anytime I'm calling the function, and that means I need to input the parameter. That means if I run this function without imputed the argument, so you will see that there is a type error called greetings missing one required positional argument, which is name. That means I already add this particular parameter, meaning that anytime someone wants to call the function, they must have to input the argument for name. So now that is parameter for the greeting. So now to do that, all you just have to do is just type the argument here. So now immediately just type the argument here. You can just run the code again, then you should see hello John. So hello John that you are seeing here now is the argument that we added to the parameter. So the terminology might seem somehow strange for you at first, but just can't it like it's still the same way of, let me just say, get rid of this parameter. It's just the same way of you just doing it like this. It's just the same way of you just trying to type John here and then get rid of the arguments that we have here. Now it's still the same way like this, so you can just take it like this, that we still have the same results, hello John. But this just seems like maybe in some cases whereby you don't need to define a normal variable. Maybe you don't know what the user is going to enter or what the user might input later on in the code. So you might just try to use what we call the parameter, and then you might use what we call the argument to simplify your function code. So it's not until you have to define a variable for everything that you're about to be doing here. So the function rules is very simple. That has to do with parameter and argument is very simple. The more the argument that you have here, the more the parameter that you have here, the more the argument that you'll be imputed in your functions. And let's say that I add another one of here, and I said, maybe I said I add age. Now let me just say, and your age is, so now call the same parameter. So now when I'm calling this function, I also has to add age to this functions too, which is 21. So now do you see that automatically the parameter for John argument, it has been automatically comes up here. Now do you see what I'm talking about here? So do you see that the parameter for John, for this first parameter, the argument for this parameter is John, and this second parameter for the argument about it is 21. So when I run this code, then you should see hello John and your age is 21. So that is parameter and argument for you. So adding parameters and arguments to this function makes things more easier than you just try to do some certain other thing. So in the next video, this is just about argument and parameter. This is just an explanation about parameter and arguments. So in the next video, we'll be exploring more of functions with other keywords arguments. Okay guys, so thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye.